All right, here we are. This is the Artie Quitter podcast. Dan, let's have the opening theme. The opening theme song is my air conditioner because I can't afford a song.
Sounds good.
Mm-hmm. My next album cover is going to be Dan holding that microphone. This is my favorite part, the middle of the guitar solo. And thank you. That's Carrier. My band is Carrier. I can't afford a theme song like Paul Anka. I mean, the Tonight Show had Paul Anka money. I don't have Paul Anka money. I just have an air conditioning unit. Geno, of course, giving it up for that. Are you tired? Are you tired? Okay. I got a glimpse into how Geno talks to Dan. It's so funny. We were texting back and forth, and I didn't realize how mean Geno is to Dan.
I'm mean to Dan?
Oh, God, Geno thought he was texting just Dan, but he was texting me.
So you think I don't understand how a group text works?
Yeah, but you clearly forgot for a second.
Okay, so I forgot.
You forgot for a second.
Okay, let's go on with this stuff.
Yeah, because there's no way you knew I was on that text.
Okay.
You were talking directly to Dan.
Okay.
And he goes, all right, Dan, and maybe we'll talk later why Artie fucking tells me I'm on every day, and then I get bumped for Ryan Reese.
Now,
okay, wait.
And you think I accidentally added you to that tweet?
No, we were group texting, and then I think you forgot that I was on it, and you were clearly talking directly to Dan. Dan thought so too, right? I mean, that was you thought, right?
Yeah, I didn't think you knew you were tweeting
not.
both of us.
Are you kidding me?
No.
And then when I responded
because it was
to
in
you,
the same
then
thread.
I responded to him. He got all sweet, like, "Oh no, I didn't."
Don't make me read
I guess
that
it's
thread.
your show.
Don't make me read that thread.
Read it. Go ahead.
I don't want to read the thread.
No. Nope. That'll be a teaser. That'll be a teaser.
Tease me, Geno. Say whatever the fuck you want. I don't give a shit.
Happy Monday.
Yeah.
How was that?
Are you threatening me with? What we're talking about on a fucking... Go ahead, read whatever the fuck you want.
I'm not threatening anyone. I'm just saying I knew you were in that.
Threatening me.
You're saying I don't send you text. You're saying I just thought that was Dan.
You thought you were just texting Dan, and you were all mean and evil to him.
So when you make a text, you're saying I started a thread where I texted Dan and I accidentally added you?
Whatever.
Okay.
Fine. Again, I'm wrong about your life.
Hey, everybody.
Geno and Chris are here. Listen, I'm sorry that you had to see this, Venus.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Sorry, dude.
This is the world of comedy.
It's like locker room stuff.
Not even. It's just ridiculous.
You never did answer that question.
So what? Well, you want the real answer?
Of course. No, I want you to lie to me.
Okay. Venus, now you were living in Los Angeles. I know this is you are transsexual.
Yes.
Right? Fully operation, everything like that.
I still got my thing.
Oh, you do? Okay.
The thingamabob?
It's unbelievable how what age did you know about this?
I'm a late bloomer, so it didn't start until I was like 18, 19.
Right.
And then from there, it just moved on forward, and pop goes my career.
Right. So, I mean, about late teens, you think?
Yeah, late teens. I've always been feminine. I'm Asian, so all our men look like women.
All your men what?
All our men look like women when it comes to Asian. So
is that true, you think?
Yeah, it's a freaking soybeans. It's a soybeans. It's estrogen and soybeans.
Okay.
You ever try and watch Asian porn and the Asian chicks are really hot, but then they're banging Asian dudes and it's a complete turn off?
Yeah.
It's like, I
even
can't.
if some of the Asian dudes have long hair, I'm just like, which one is a girl?
Well, I mean, I never knew about that particular stereotype, but a lot of, but Asian men who are very masculine are scary, like Asian gang guys.
Yeah, the triads.
When they go masculine, they go all the way.
Yeah, I can only imagine me with tattoos and a gun. Yeah, it would not work out.
They're either feminine or like they'll chop you up.
Yeah, pretty much.
But you go down to Chinatown, some of those streets back, we're still today. You see some gang activity.
Definitely. I don't know about New York Chinatown, but I'm pretty sure.
San Francisco,
yeah, definitely.
Is it crazy in San Francisco?
Oh, it can be. It's like original triad people.
San Francisco is a very tough town. It's like the bad neighborhoods of San Francisco are really dangerous. It gets a reputation for being flower children and everything. It's scary as hell around there.
Definitely. Yeah. Thank God I wasn't really grew up in that community. I guess we Asians, we don't like to be segregated from the fobs.
Right.
Fresh off the boat. So I'm American born, so I have like no clue when it comes to like Chinese. I'm Chinese.
Right.
The Chinese traditional culture and it comes to like triads and whatnot. But fortunately enough, being American born, I was able to transition. I'm pretty sure if I was like fresh off the boat, coming from China to here, I'd probably get my ass whooped.
Yeah. Well, what do your parents do? What did they do?
My mom. Gold digger. So she's a housewife. She's a housewife. She doesn't really work, but she did work for a little bit as a fortune teller. So yeah, she got.
So she didn't work.
Yeah, she didn't work.
Your father was a rich guy?
No. He was an educated professor at a college.
Oh,
so
okay. Well, you said gold diggers. How much? So
he has good money compared to typical Chinese standards. To be a teacher, it's good.
She's like a bronze digger, not a gold digger. She's not quite to the
not
gold.
even a bronze, just nickel.
Well, she just wanted somebody to make a living, I guess, then, right?
Yeah. Well, she comes from an aristocratical family. Being Chinese, being a woman, you want to be the caregiver. I'm pretty sure in other cultures.
Oh, Asian women do give care. They do. Oh yeah, for $60.
Take care of you. For $60. At a massage parlor.
Yeah. And they're very.
It's $100 for the works on Arch Street.
Yeah, exactly. Well, they're very out.
I'm told.
They're very out in the open in San Francisco still. Last time I was there, a comedian friend of mine whose last name rhymes with Blarosa. I love him. Got a happy ending.
Such a happy film.
But if you really could tell fortunes, you'd be worth $1 billion. Think about it. If you really had that skill.
Yeah, I think anyone nowadays who just grabs a book and just reads their palm can be a fortune teller.
Yeah, in New York, you just have to.
Grabs a book, Chris. You're out.
Fuck. So I don't know why I fake laugh at Geno. He doesn't fake laugh at me.
I genuinely laughed at you.
That was a great one.
Why do you hate me?
Okay.
I got so many questions.
So now, do your parents react poorly to this situation in your life?
It's different. It's different. I think more so, going back with, being a communist country, China and all, it's very
oppressive.
Very oppressive.
Yeah.
And so when it comes to the sex revolution and also sex education, it's so...
There was no revolution.
There was no revolution. It was staggered,
Right.
And so with that said, it kind of passed on to generations to a point where nowadays we don't talk about anything about sex or gender. So it comes to a point where I have to figure out by myself. And so anything that's different to my family, it comes across like, oh crap, it's like you're possessed or something.
Oh no, it must be so difficult. I couldn't. I mean, it's got to be very, very hard. Because clearly, I think you're born. I think you're born gay. You're born, straight. You're born
trans.
Because it's and no one knows that better than a straight guy. To me, I mean, because the difference between pussy and a guy's ass is so different. I mean, I assume.
Would you?
I've read.
I wouldn't know.
I've read about it. But to the point where if you're gay or are you homosexual?
No, that's a funny
not.
thing.
You're not homosexual. So you're like Bruce Jenner, in other words, where you say,
Caitlyn Jenner now, I guess.
Caitlyn Jenner. You feel like you're a woman, but you're not.
It's funny. There's a lot of conflicts between that. There's like gender dysphoria.
I got to tell you, that is very confusing.
It's very confusing, and there's
it must be to you too.
Transsexual. There's transgender. What's the difference? So there's a lot, and transgender is identity that you claim for yourself, and then there's transsexual, where it's like, okay, you actually went through the process, like tits.
Okay, so let me ask you this. This is a great question then.
Yeah.
So you're attracted to women sexually.
I'm attracted to men. So I know you may kind of see that.
So you consider yourself a woman?
Yes.
That's so when you I'm sorry. So when I ask you if you're homosexual, you're okay.
Yeah, if I would categorize myself,
I'm
as a man,
assuming you was a man, born a man. Okay,
Yeah.
right. So you were at one point when you were still a man,
yes.
gay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm confused as shit right now.
So you became a woman and now you're straight.
Yeah. You're gay and then you're straight now. I know it kind of gets confusing because sexuality and gender identity, but it's so separated. It just happens to depend on the person. Like,
Oh no, I understand that. I'm thinking. I'm trying to debate if I'm trying to fuck you or not. That's what I'm.
Either way, that's not going to happen.
Hey,
I don't think there's any scenario. I don't think there's any fortune teller that's going to see that in the future.
I got a palm.
What I won't
You'll
allow
be using that palm later. Trust me.
Yeah, exactly. I won't allow that to happen.
It's your decision. It's your body. You tell me if I'm in it or not.
Well,
you let me know.
I'm flattered.
Yeah. Do you want to answer that in advance in writing?
She already sent me a text.
Did she
5 o'clock,
accidentally
this
include Artie?
location.
I really want to know. So, is there something psychological about the fact that you're not going all the way with the operation? Is there a reason
There
you still
is.
have?
It's so much gray.
You just can't. Is there some part of you that, even though you feel like you're a woman, you can't get rid of that?
It's so funny. I've always thought about that since I transitioned. I was like, you know what? It'd be nice to have a hole,
Right.
not have to have this situation. But I think over time, as I focus my career and kind of start accepting myself, it's to the point where it's like, yeah, no offense. Like when I'm having drunk nights, it's nice to stand up and not squat.
Well, I know women who just stand up anyway
and also,
when they shit too.
Harvest Moon.
Yeah, Harvest Moon.
very talented, very talented.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it must be. Yeah, if you have that God-given, do you believe in God?
I'm an atheist. I believe in karma.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's something.
What does that
happens.
even mean, though?
Something happens for a reason.
Okay.
Yeah. Whatever.
So there's like some sort of force out there.
Yeah,
You believe you put
Star
bad
Wars.
shit out in the universe, bad shit will come back to you, and vice versa.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. I agree with that too. I mean, the biggest argument for God to me is how this all began. I mean, how do we go from mud to being able to,
Yeah, it's evolution.
look at that city over there.
Yeah.
So you're gonna keep? Are you gonna keep the
Yeah,
situation? You call it the situation down there?
The situation.
By the way,
yeah.
you really are the real situation.
I am the real situation.
That kid had abs.
Forget
That's not
Jersey
nearly
Shore.
your situation. You have a major situation.
Yeah, I plan to keep it. I like my sexuality, and when it comes to my sexuality, I like women, guys.
Okay.
But I would not date women. That's the thing. I'm fine hooking up with women. I just
Right.
don't want to deal with any more estrogen in my life.
What's your relationship like with your parents now?
Parents are good. I think they have accepted myself and my career.
What is your career?
My career? I do adult films.
Oh, you do? Okay, right. You're a
So I do
porn
adult films, but that's only one facet of what I do. I produce, direct, and act. So it's multifaceted. Career.
So you direct mostly now? I mean, when you're in
Yeah.
a porno, you have that situation. So you never see that situation in the porn, or you do see that situation?
I still perform. I still
Right.
perform. When I direct, I understand from a model's perspective. Obviously, I used to perform. I still perform to be able to convey what the audience wants.
Right.
So whether it be being a crap out of someone with a flogger.
Okay, so that specific sexuality.
Wait, I know more of this story.
What is it called? What kind of porn is that called? Is it
BDSM, domination porn.
So
whatever
that's what you
call
do.
it.
It's not tranny porn or anything like that.
You could call it tranny porn. It's porn, sheet metal porn, whatever you call it. And those words, when it comes to a porn context, sure, you could use those terminologies.
Right.
So it's whatever. It's a niche that's growing. Obviously, with now trending, mainstream transgender folk.
Caitlyn Jenner has made it completely like mainstream.
Exactly. Laverne Cox, Janet Mock. So, the revolution is changing and people are getting more open-minded to it. And now with, 50 Shades of Grey and all.
Right.
So using like hand signals, who's fucking who with what? Like I'm confused here. Now, what's going in where, and how do you get it out?
You flip a coin. You flip a coin and see.
I don't understand the question.
Like, okay, is your dick going, and whose dick is going in where, and where's the pussy's at, and what am I watching? If I watch the video with you, are you fucking a guy or a lady? Because you still have your penis.
Yes. It's confusing.
I'm trying to ask this as nice as possible. I don't know how to ask the question.
totally get it.
Nicely. What?
For me, I think because I am a pansexual performer, any person, any human person goes. I do it with anyone, guys, girls.
So anything goes. So
it's actually a Peter Pan sexual performance. It's an ugly visual, but you should try it.
He likes young boys.
Oh, great.
Who doesn't? So so anything goes, basically.
Anything goes, and I think that kind of makes me who I am. It makes me so unique that I'm able to work with many types of people. And it's fun. I keep it fun and keep it open. And whether I'm...
You seem very happy, which is great. Because I would think, you go through anything as a kid and a teenager, it's everything's so tough. And then to go what you went through is really hard. Your parents, other people.
Changing it up.
Like, how do you find friends who relate to you?
You make it happen. You make it happen. And you got to have the appreciation of what you got. And you got to make do.
And you got a lot going on.
Yeah.
A lot going on.
You got extra pieces there. Asian.
I mean, when you see three assholes like us, you know what I mean? Like, clearly.
In what context?
See what I'm saying here? I think she likes me now. Yeah. I think she likes me, all right? I don't want to say, I see her looking at me. And I mean,
like, we're desperately trying to be funny, like sweating so hard to be funny. And like, very, very insecure, obviously. And we lash out by, insulting you.
I don't find insulting.
Yeah, I don't think
well, you should.
I'm at the point where
we have yet to insult this stupid
I got real questions here.
Like
I don't get offended easily.
Yeah, well,
I don't.
I do. That was terrible.
Life is too short. You only can take things with a grain of salt. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you just gotta make do with it and have fun. That's the thing. You just have fun with it, and as long as you do it in a sense where you can educate too, that's a pro.
Is that what is? So I mean, is that part of your goal is to educate people about all that?
Exactly. Yeah. I think because of the fact that I'm not stuck into a situation where like I only like guys, I like women, like transsexuals, it gets to a point where like I can be able to target different audiences, whether you're a woman, you're a guy, you're a transsexual, to be able to convey and educate when it comes to sex or dating or education of that sense. Right. So it makes it easier.
When you see these kids on the college campuses now with this whole thing of like they need a safe place to study where there's no racism, they want to be guarded from the world in a way, which is my big problem with that is they want to be guarded from reality. I mean, like as a guy who runs a college, I can't promise you're not going to hear the N-word. I can't promise. We're in life.
Things change.
What would that be something you can relate to? Like, would you? You seem very tough. This made you a tough person, I would assume.
Yeah,
you could deal with anything.
Yeah.
Do you relate to that? Like needing a safe place to be in the world? Would you want to be coddled like that?
I can imagine if I was younger, and I'm 25 now. So if I was like 18, I'm old, right?
Mm-hmm. No, you look very. Obviously you look young, but I mean 25.
I'm Asian.
Oh, you're almost at college age anyway.
Yeah. So I think when it comes to college, I think being coddled in that sense, I don't think it's necessary, especially when it comes to human evolution. People change, society change, economics change. You just got to adapt to it, and you just got to roll with the punches. And you can't be in this kind of rooted into this traditional cultural sense of like, okay, things should be happy the way it is.
Yeah, because my message, if I were you, would be you got to be tough. Like I would say, you just got to tough it out. Like that's
especially with the stigmas and discrimination. I think if you emphasize that a lot in your daily life, and it will dictate your lifestyle and it will dictate your mindset. But if you are able to kind of find a moment of peace and confidence with yourself and just roll with that and be unique, be different, be proud that you're different. Right. Have at it, Do
you have any friends from high school? Did you make friends from high school that you had for life, or high school was just a nightmare? Was it a nightmare for you?
I don't think I talked to anyone in high school nowadays.
Not one person? Not one
person who actually recognizes me. And if they do, they probably just follow my adult side, which is really awkward.
Oh, that is odd, yeah. They find out you're doing porn.
I remember you from high school.
Yeah.
Pretty much. A girl I went to high school with when I was about 22 years old, me and my buddy went into a strip club in Jersey, and we saw a girl we went to high school with stripping, and it was like the fact that we went to high school with her made it so much hotter
because the innocence of it, right?
Yeah. It was like wow,
schoolgirl outfit.
But have you had that where people you knew before you got into this have seen you? Well, put it this way: do your parents watch you?
Oh hell no!
No, I don't think I could deal with that as a dad.
Yeah, I would not be able to see that myself if I had a kid and just like watch that. It's just tarnishing, and so I would not have my family deal with that, but they know what I do, and I think it comes to a point where they just have to approve it. Right. No offense, but I ain't reversing my tits.
No, of course not. No one wants
Neither's cut.
So neither am I. I think these are here to stay. So did you get an operation for your breast? You took hormones?
Yeah, I took hormones, and then that's the process. You got to be able to have some extra skin, in order to get some surgery.
I got mine a long way.
Right.
Yeah.
So you were a little jealous
about
of
the same
people like
size.
Chris and I, which is natural fat. You're a very thin person.
Yeah, so you just gotta take hormones. And hormones don't actually dictate your voice or hair or looks or anything. It just dictates your body in converting the muscle into fat and distributing it properly to make it more curvier, and that's about it.
Right.
And makes your your skin softer, your hair follicles thinner.
You do the same thing with mayonnaise, Chris.
Yeah, exactly.
Can't lie, that was funny.
You and mayonnaise together.
I'm sorry about all that.
It's all good.
It's like a handler. He's like, I'm sorry.
You can't get rid of him.
I don't know what to say. It's so awkward. My big thing with like Caitlyn Jenner is how long he waited.
Yeah,
she waited.
She waited. Now, I also question that too, because I'm just like, if you really weren't unhappy for so long, why wait it out to this point?
Well, she claims that she knew. It's so hard calling her she.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I know it's offensive, but it's so weird. To me, wait until you're 65.
Yeah.
Do you think the Kardashians drove him crazy? Do you think he really was in that house for a while and then all of a sudden said, "I'm a girl"?
I think it was tough for her because the fact that you have kids and you want to set a good example, especially you've been a kind of a masculine role model for your son.
The most masculine role model on the planet. He's
Okay,
like
there you go.
Greek God, like fucking decathlon.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, gee, it's almost like he was trying to prove I'm a guy.
So when you have that pressure from society and your family itself, you have to kind of maintain that. I can understand that. So you waited so long, but I think at the end of the day, she wanted really just like, you know what, my kids are grown. I need to focus on myself. I'm not getting any more happier. Yeah. It's time for me to focus and do what I gotta do. And I'm pretty sure everyone can relate in some sense where, like, you know what, everyone had like a childhood dream or ambition you want to do, and you've always been putting it aside because you've been suppressing with work, kids, family, drama.
Yeah, but usually maybe it's mountain climbing or I want to be a dentist.
Africa. I have to work on my garden more.
Kill a lion. I don't know what it is.
Read a book.
But that's a big
Each
goal.
his own, right? Each his own.
Become a woman. That's at 60.
I know. I think it has to do with being happy with yourself, especially if you have an insecurity complex.
Right.
You need to work on that, and I think that was such a chain reaction to her transitioning into a woman.
It is, and that's where I gotta give you props. A lot of times when I meet people like you seem like the most together person I know in a lot of ways. I mean, way more together than I am, and I'm clearly, I know I'm not a chick. That's one thing I'm definitely aware of, but everything else is a question mark.
But hey,
I don't know what else I know I'm a guy.
Halloween.
I don't know anything else.
Test it out in Halloween. Give it a try.
Have you ever had problems with addiction or anything like that? Have you ever turned to that for pain?
I've had addictions in the past. Gambling, drugs, everything. So
everything.
I still smoke right now. I'm trying to wean that off.
Weed.
But, weed,
you mean?
Oh, yeah.
Smoke weed, or smoke the nicotine?
Wean.
Are you trying to wean yourself off?
I'm trying to wean myself off from cigarettes.
Oh, I thought, okay.
Yeah, but in the past, drugs, gambling, I'm Asian. It's normal.
Right.
Yeah.
Russian roulette.
I don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
Exactly.
Russian roulette.
Hi, gal. Poker, So I've been in a control situation, and I think when it comes to really finding your happiness, you got to be in control. And so I was able to wean off my addictions to a point where nowadays it's just like I got a good handle of my happiness and who I affiliate myself.
Drugs were what kind of drugs were you doing?
Coke, meth. I've done it when I was like 16, 18, 16. Well, I was like 14 up to like 18. When you get older, you're just like, you know what? I can go to jail for this. I can't do this anymore.
Wow, that's a very rational, great way to put it.
That's all it took. This is illegal.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, how many times I've said I could go to jail for this, and I just do it anyway.
I think I find it fortunate enough because I had so much internal turmoil with my identity that it actually pushed me to really focus on it. Because, no offense, if you're like a regular heterosexual man and all you gotta do is just work, pay your bills, find a hot chick to bang a girlfriend, and
you're making that sound way easier than
dude, this Artie.
Simple.
It's like a checklist. Find a hot chick to bang.
I'm over 3 on that.
I'll have that by noon.
And then imagine that you throw in a mix of like, okay, I need to focus on surgeries, makeup, new wardrobe.
Oh, I don't know. Again, you're right. I don't know how you're doing it. No,
so
if I got to go to the DMV 1 week, I'm a basket case. I need cocaine. Yeah, that is really a stress level. I can't. And again, you really seem happy, and I really give you a lot of credit. You seem very. You can tell when someone's not genuinely comfortable with themselves, and you clearly are. And that makes me happy.
Thank you.
Because really, there is a message there of like you can overcome that pain, that confusion.
I think because there's just so much in media nowadays of like all this, suicide, homicide situation, that's what kind of dictates most people's mentality of like when they perceive a transsexual or transgender person. But it's each his own. Each person's different. And I think that's what I'm here today to be able like, hey, I'm happy. I know I got my life. Right. It is what it is. But at the same time, you can't be moping about that shit.
No, I know. Well, listen, I know. I got a couple of buddies of mine who still smoke a lot of weed from high school, and they get paranoid, and they don't work either. These guys, their wives take care of them, and they're always in their pajamas. And two of them called me up yesterday, freaking out about the Paris stuff. They're watching CNN. Paris is free. Like, you're sitting in Bloomfield, New Jersey, asshole. Just go get a Twinkie. What the fuck are you worried about? They're worried about Paris on CNN.
Those are the 40-year-old virgins out there.
They got 5 kids. The problem is they're not virgins. They got kids I'll probably be taking care of one day because of some drunken promise I made over a flaming shot of Zambuca in 1980. People don't. Some people just are not together. If I had to worry about getting operations like you got, and insurance doesn't cover those, right?
Oh, hell no. Well, nowadays they'll cover downstairs, but anything cosmetic, it does not
They'll cover downstairs. Why? Because they don't consider that elective.
It's not, they don't consider it as elective surgery because it actually does change who you are and your gender itself and your demeanor. And I think it's more so that it I guess it corrects.
But wait, so what they're admitting is, what the insurance companies are admitting is that psychologically you need to have that done. Like, it's not a choice.
I think a lot of people...
Which is pretty progressive. I didn't realize they were that advanced in their thinking.
Thank God to, Medicare?
Yeah.
Medicare
that is a real liberal point of view, right? I mean, I don't know they did that.
I think it's nice to be able to cover a minority that's been neglected for a while, especially when it comes to that situation of, especially you have a minority that's been suppressed for so long and they can't help themselves, and you have to
listen. There's a lot of conservatives who go, you sound like a fucking wuss, but that's that again. I have a lot of conservative point of views, probably to the right, but that is a real thing, because it's not your choice. I didn't choose to be.
It corrects the term gender dysphoria. If you have that surgery, I think it removes that gender dysphoria, and I think it gives that person the confidence to be able to continue in society and not have to struggle with this kind of bodily anatomy, dysfunction. I do not associate my mentality with my body.
What does gender dysphoria mean? At the risk of sounding
gender dysphoria,
is that what you said?
Yeah, gender dysphoria.
It's the opposite of euphoria.
Kind of.
Dysphoria is not euphoria.
It's a state where your mentality and your body have conflicts.
Wow. Okay.
So it's like, okay, I have a penis, but I believe I'm a woman and I should have a vagina, and this is really causing me to feel inadequate.
Like what you said, Artie. You said when Jenner was on the podium with the gold medal, he said he felt like he was a woman.
Well, later on.
So that was the dysphoria he was feeling, right?
Okay. Exactly.
Thank you for explaining that.
I have a question.
About how confusing that must be.
Yeah. I have a question for some of the listeners. I know they wondering the same thing. Now, when you go in for this elective surgery, right, and they so many sure they chop off the dick. Yeah. Do they keep that somewhere and then put that on? Is it like an organ donor system?
With a dick.
Yeah, but is it like, he doesn't want the dick, but she does want the dick? Do they just pop him on, Mr. Potato Head?
Can you?
I don't think you could do that.
Can you fuck your new pussy with your old dick?
That would be very fascinating. That would be a new genre of porn.
Like I said, we've said this before, and if your pussy rejects the dick.
Actually, what happens is the funny thing is when they don't actually chop it off, they kind of
what do they do? They sort of
tuck it in.
They tuck it in from an outie to an innie.
Yeah. You know why I know this shit? My wife actually is fucking in it. She
wants you to look into that.
No, she's a
Yeah, if you're a nurse, you gotta deal with that.
Yeah, she knows a lot of shit. So I've actually She made me like sit through like a quarter of a video because I didn't make it. It's too much blood. I was done, and it was like fuck. I'm done. Get this shit now. I mean, I know the information.
No, that was he's saying that to a male.
It's like childbirth.
Literally, all I can do is do the thing. They go and then it's a noise for me.
No, I couldn't watch it. I couldn't watch it.
It's worse than Saw.
Sacrifice people gotta make, right? So hey.
So, but you say you'll never do that though. You probably never get it done.
I'm happy what I got.
Yeah, don't fuck with it then, right?
I like my sex life too, and I don't think having that really changes my life or changes my mindset of like who I am. I think I'm very happy with who I am and what I got. Hence, I was able to take out that gender dysphoria.
And you are young too. It might change.
It might change. Who knows? You know, down the line, I'm like, I want to, fake popping some kids out.
Well, what about that? Do you have the desire to have a child, to go through child? I mean, not just take care of one, like adopt them.
Yeah, I do.
You have a desire to carry a child like that?
I don't think my hips are wide enough to shove a baby into my my fake pussy.
They're not big enough to have a baby and fight me off.
I was gonna say,
It's weird.
Yeah, I know a lot of women have that thing, that natural thing. They want to feel a baby growing.
Yeah, and sometimes they're like they're barren and they can't, So you
are you a woman? So do you have that feeling?
I have that feeling. I do. I am at that point right now where I'm like, yeah, I definitely would like to have a child. Of course, I need to find a man first who actually has a job.
Right.
Same problems.
Yeah.
Same problems.
Same problems.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Able to be at for that.
Don't look in this room.
But at least luckily, I have the option to say like, hey, if I'm ready or not for a child, I'm not like gonna be popped up one day. Hey, I want a DNA test. I'm pregnant. So I can actually plan it out and be able to successfully be able to see if I'm ready for a child or not.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see down the line. Who knows? Technology may evolve, and I may be able to shoot our baby out my asshole. So who knows?
A lot of crazy shit.
I don't know if you want to do that. Probably about that ad. Well, I don't know. You had a crazy life. So that ass might be better than
maybe you want to do that. You never know.
I don't know what can go in there.
That's an interesting experience too. Do you have brothers and sisters?
I do. Actually, I am a single parent of my little brother I adopted.
Oh, that's awesome.
So he's 15 now, and because my mom isn't really maternal, I took on that responsibility to teach him hey, this is how you put on a condom.
Right.
Don't use oil lube with latex. So
my dad never.
You're getting that detailed.
My mom never showed me how to put a condom on her dick.
That's a good mother.
That's why we have.
But when did he lose her virginity though? When did he lose her virginity?
Yeah. Exactly.
My mother later,
Has he lost his virginity yet?
He hasn't, but I think he's in a situation where he has an open family or open communication with me to be able to support him. Hey, it's totally fine if you want to lose your virginity at 16, as long as with the right person, the right age, this is how you do it. I think it's being open about it is when your kids don't hide secrets from you.
Right.
And then you don't deal with a situation where oh, this chick is knocked up and you're 16, you got no job, and you got to take care of her. What the hell's going to go happen? Okay. I'm not going to take care of that.
Right.
So you just want to be able to be happy about that. And so I'm happy that he's with me.
So you have that responsibility too. Yeah. You're a mother.
Yeah, pretty much. So I ain't complaining. He's a good kid. He has a level head. His mad just he's an introvert. So I try to get him out of his shell and be able to talk more.
What about his friends? Have you met his friends?
I worry about that. I'm like, you know what? These are teenage high school kids. What have you guys been doing when you guys were 16?
Oh, I know.
I was fucking. When you said he might, I was fucking at 15.
Yeah, you're fucking, right?
I'm fucking and playing sports.
I hate to bump into someone where they may recognize me, So I try to stay away from his friends and just okay, if it gets to a point where you want to have a friend over, cool. I'll stop in and say hi, and that's fine.
And you're introduced as his mother.
No, as a sister.
As a sister. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't want to. He has a mother, our mother, and that's her right to be able to say that. And for me, I'm.
Why is he not with her?
He wanted a better life. He wanted to learn new things. He wanted to focus on acting, and I was in LA and had the opportunity to.
Oh, he wants to act.
Yeah.
Okay.
And my family don't speak English, so yeah. How do you teach?
So he just you go look. I'd rather live with someone who speaks English, is not a fortune teller. and lives in L.A., not San Francisco. I get it. So he wanted to be a kid.
Yeah.
So he's living in you live in the Valley. You like that?
I live in North Hollywood.
Woodland Hills.
Oh no, not Chatsworth.
You don't go out there.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I don't want to deal with like moaning and screaming at 2 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah, I went to a couple of parties in Woodland Hills with porn people, and it was crazy.
It's crazy.
Oh my God, they know how to throw a party though.
It's fun if you're a bachelor.
Yeah, they did. Oh, yeah, well, yeah, it was fun. It was the craziest shit going on there. But they all seemed to be. They wanted to get into mainstream acting. A lot of them, you know.
Yeah, I think it's because everyone wants to get famous, and they think and the easiest way is porn. You know, easiest is porn. You know, acting, modeling.
Is that the easiest way, really?
Yeah, I think it's one of the easiest way to obtain some sense of fame or stature in the public eye,
right.
And everyone.
But you
everyone
have to look like you, not like us three. So
I was gonna say,
I could do pretty good.
pretty well.
No, Geno's a good-looking guy.
If you had an
I
opportunity
wouldn't last
to,
nearly long enough on porn.
Well, it's a different type of thing.
But if you had
it's
an
not good. The
opportunity-
guys in porn aren't particularly good-looking.
they're not that good looking, but if you had the
about
opportunity to
swag.
get paid to
Yeah.
have sex, would you want to do that and have that as a career?
No, I would. I mean, no.
When I was real young,
Do I get paid by the hour? I wouldn't make any money.
I wanted to be
Yeah.
a porn star until I was like 18.
Right? No, I probably no. The question. So you think it's weird that I wouldn't want to do that?
I think maybe if you're intellectual,
Make a living and at doing that? No, I because I really. To me, I'm probably more closed-minded in the sense I wouldn't want to put my mother through that. Like, I'd rather do, I mean, I'm just as embarrassed.
Also, I guess it depends on your comfort level, your confidence, and your insecurities, and then what you're willing to risk, sacrifice your privacy out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you're willing to do it to get paid and get a decent job and you get bang chicks, then why not? Who wouldn't want to do it? At the same time, be able to get kind of famous and make it easier on your dating life.
I'm definitely, sign me, I would not want to do it. Because there's a lot of whack jobs in that world.
It can be. It can
a lot
be.
of dark people. I mean, come on.
Yeah, there's a
very
lot of.
dark,
Whoa, what the
weirdos.
fuck you mean by that, Art?
I can't.
Hey, dark people are coveted.
Oh yeah, we good. We good. Huh? This is 2015. We good now.
Dig out of this hole.
I think it's like if you're conservative, you come from a conservative standpoint. If you're a Jew or a Muslim or whatever, if you come from a conservative standpoint and if your mindset's not into porn, it's not in it, And if you want a different ambitions, so be it. But I think when it comes to a point when you just come out of high school, you're kind of lost, you're kind of confused, and there's something exciting that's giving you the adrenaline rush and also gives you a kind of instant fame kind of situation, I think people will take that chance and just go for it.
A lot of
Especially girls.
But don't you think it's harder for a dude, like with all that camera work, to get an erect, like with all those people watching? Like, I think that's a gift.
It is a gift, but at the same time,
I would think a lot of
nowadays-
guys are like, I can't.
But you're completely ignoring the moral part of it. Like, what you don't think people would think it's unethical on some level to do that?
unethical to be in porn?
Yeah. Immoral, unethical, offensive to your parents, your family. You know, you just think that never comes into play.
I'm in it, and I find
no,
it...
I'm not judging you at all. I'm just saying that comes into play. That to me, that's a logical way of thinking. That's why they wouldn't do it.
Yeah, I think I can see that standpoint.
Right.
I think if you treat it in a sense where it's like a hobby, then I think that's how it will come off as an unethical situation. If you kind of go in and for the publicity, the drugs, and this and that, and who cares about families and friends situation. But if you view it from a mindset of like, this is a business opportunity.
Well, in your world, is it a very clean world compared to what I'm thinking about? Like the typical porn world of like, there's a lot of drugs around. There's a lot of people who are
porn has
don't
cleaned
do,
up.
Maybe not pay all their taxes, and
There's a lot of people out there who don't pay their taxes.
So you're saying it's you making it sound like it's just like a day at the office, but
I treat it like a day at the office.
Okay.
I work in the office actually, editing, the processing of paperwork, documentation, paying taxes. Yeah, QuickBooks. Yeah, you gotta manage all that. I think there's so many facets to porn that people don't know about. Like, it supplies so many jobs. People assume like, porn is just like...
it's the movie business.
It's
Sure,
the movie
absolutely,
business,
yeah.
I think when it comes to just, if you're just a performer standpoint and that's all you want to do...
Because I'm just saying how it started was were just criminals making a woman have sex, and you just put it out there and just, it's like you sell it. it started at a very bad thing. Gangsters.
I think mainstream media nowadays have come to a point of more tolerance and more acceptance. I think people still see there's still some some stigmatism, of course, behind it. But overall, I think it's becoming a very trend, a new trend.
Well,
like pop culture.
So would you find it odd if a father would tell his daughter, "Please don't do that"? Like, I don't want you going into that world because I'm worried about you.
I could see that. I could see that because of.
I mean, how could you not see that?
I could see that you can conform into the drugs.
You can also say that about regular show business too, though, right?
Same thing with show business. Yeah, and especially if you are trying to make it happen, try to make it work, to make the wrong connections, something can go wrong.
Right.
So I think any parent telling their child to not do porn is very understandable. But overall, when these kids become adults,
well, you can't control that. I'm just saying you can give them suggestions, but I think it's extraordinarily naive to think that everybody. I mean, what about when you see these ultra religious people who do vote and everything, like that woman who wouldn't give gay people a marriage license in Kentucky, and it goes against my God, blah blah blah, and being an atheist and stuff, which you probably consider yourself an intellectual, you're an atheist. What do you think when you see the evangelicals in Iowa that do nothing but vote and still have a big voice? They're still out there. Does that scare you?
It does scare me a little bit, but at the same time, it's how much you let them affect you, to be honest.
Right.
I think everyone has their own beliefs, and that's their beliefs. I'm not judging you. I think that's part of my philosophy is if I am trying to help others understand transgenderism, I can't be a hypocrite and be so judgmental on other minorities.
I want to give her a clap for that because people don't ignore that fact. If you're opening up a world, you got to be open for fucking questions.
Yeah.
Like,
who cares if you're black, you're gay, you're straight, or you're religious?
You gotta stop bringing up this black.
Again, we have to. Every time you say that, it's going to be a simple joke.
I love black guys, so it doesn't matter.
I told you she was feeling me. I told you from the.
So what are you doing now? What do you got going on now?
So now I am actually advocating for the transgender community by launching a magazine called Trans Global Magazine.
Right.
And because of the fact that
pull out.
Yeah.
Right. There you go.
Sarcasm coming up hard.
That's great.
Didn't mean to derail you.
It's not good. It's not good.
Sorry, Venus. There's a pull out. You would. All right.
I'm thinking something else, but yeah. But anyways, about Trans Global Magazine, because of the fact I'm trying to spread positivity and help people understand that, yeah, I'm transgender, but it can be a hard life, but hey, you move on, get over it.
No, I think you are a good spokesperson for that. I haven't met you. I mean, again, you would think you're proof that you could do this and be completely fine.
Yeah,
absolutely. So, is this a magazine that you started?
Yes, I just launched about 2 months ago, and it's not print yet. It's online based, and basically, it is inclusive of podcasts. Article pieces, exclusive interviews, and right now we're working on some docu-series that we'll be launching soon on YouTube. And it's a free, open to the public resource page where it's kind of like a hub for all transgender stories, news, information, events, and I have my podcast show on there. 2 shows. I have Venus Lux Show, and I have Transparent as a Trans Parent, which talks about how is it like to be a transgender parent, and also how is it like to be a child of a transgender parent. So my little brother is on the show.
He gives does he articulate his opinions? He sort of comes out of his shell a little bit. And,
I'm new to it, so we're throwing out topics and open discussion. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to spread positivity and hopefully educate people and having an open discussion. And it's fine to ask these questions. Don't worry about saying the wrong thing, because everyone can't be correct all the time.
Right.
So it's matter just how you paraphrase it and kind of change that terminology into something that's a little bit more healthier on both ends.
Oh, good. So, and how do we find that?
You can check out transglobalmagazine.com.
Okay.
And we update daily. And yeah, check out my podcast show every week. It's going on iTunes soon. Venus Lux Show, where I just talk about, how it's like to be an Asian millennial, single parent, and
you got a lot going on.
Got a lot going on.
Yeah, I'd listen to that. Absolutely. I'd check it out.
And she only dates interracial black fat dudes, so that's
Is that that true? You like that? You don't like fat guys, right?
Oh, don't tell her what she likes.
Well, I appreciate you coming on. I do.
Thank
it was
you.
very nice of you to come.
Appreciate
I mean, I think
It's nice to have someone who's open-minded enough to be able to initiate this dialogue. So
No, I do. I think a lot of people have different opinions about stuff that they developed years ago about people, where they, you could never talk like this. But I do think your message is one of you should be strong in life, and you can get through all that shit, because it's way harder than an average problem that a kid has, insecurity wise in high school, to go what you went through, and the fact that you're here and happy and working, and you're taking care of your brother. It's a cool thing. So I wish you luck.
Thank you very much.
Maybe you'll come down the road again. And of course, it's always good to see Lainey, though. She's a sweetheart. I love.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Come back anytime. All right.
We'll do, definitely.
We'll take a break. Back after this. All right, we're all. Hey, Artie, Geno Piscotti here. Chris had to go, and of course, the transsexual had to go. Okay, I want to explain. I feel bad. I want to explain what happened at the open of the show. So, people always say, "What's your problem with Geno?" I don't have a problem with Geno. I love Geno. Geno and I have known each other a long time. It's odd that you find in comedy a guy that you could relate to, a guy's guy who's not some nerd, effeminate, blah blah blah. A guy you'd be friends with anyway, probably. Gambling, sports, all that shit. And
thank you, by the way. That's nice.
Yeah. I mean, obviously,
that's one of the greatest compliments. Because one other person said that to me, Vecchione. He's like, me and you would be buddies.
It's very exactly,
and that's such a great compliment.
It's very refreshing in this business to meet somebody you relate to. So I think. Sometimes the conversations get more passionate, maybe. And we were talking on the phone, and my ongoing struggles with addiction. I talk to Geno sometimes about that, and we were talking.
I've been known to drink a bit.
Well,
much.
we were talking very. I mean, I don't. Whatever. I'm not talking about you here. I'm talking about me and what was happening. I was. I talk openly with Geno about that, and I was. That's what the discussion was, and it got into like a sensitive area, and we were for a little while group texting. That all was group texting, by the way.
I know.
So
that.
Dan was seeing that, and I'm saying, "Oh, okay, this is odd, but whatever." Danny's become like a brother to me. So I said, if Geno's okay with this, Dan, there's not much I would hide from Dan. But my issue was when you sent the text about that I brought up. You mentioned me as if you were talking, as if I wasn't in the room. That's why I thought maybe he didn't realize that it wasn't a group text anymore. And I said, oh God, he's fucking yelling at Dan. And I thought it was an interesting dynamic. And I got hit with that thought at the wrong time.
So you were defending Dan more than attacking me.
I was trying to say, like, wow, that is a difference in, it's how human beings act, and you claim that you did know I was on that text.
I really did.
Okay.
I really did.
Listen, I have a million things going on. I've said this HBO pilot, I was just talking to you before. It's very exciting. I've been rehearsing with Judd Apatow, and I got to see how he works. He's directing the pilot. I didn't realize he was directing the pilot until I went to rehearsal, and Pete Holmes, the star, is definitely nervous, but it's going to be a lot of improv, and I just got hit at the wrong time today, and I get lashed out. I sounded like an asshole. Believe me, I consider Geno. Geno is a very close friend of mine, and sometimes I won't get into detail. Lately, I have concerns about him, maybe, and that's what it was about.
But I've always felt, and this is defending all of us, like people that you don't like, you walk away from. You're like, that guy's an asshole, and you
don't bother with.
Right, but when we do this, I'm like, this is our boys working shit out, and I like that.
Sometimes I think you're extra respectful of me because I give you work, and sometimes I think just because you're a nice guy. You are thankful, maybe grateful for that, and I think sometimes you feel odd being totally honest with me because you don't want to be insulting, because I think you were brought up like I was. Maybe you're grateful if someone gives you work.
Very good. Very
and I give you work not out of any sort of charity. I give you work because you're funny and you make the show better.
And I have those pictures of you.
Well, of course, always. So there's a weird dynamic because we're friends, but then we work together, and I'm lucky enough to be in a position that might change someday where I am the one able to employ people who I think are funny. And that's what happens on the podcast too. So I wanted to clear up that very awkward moment, and of course, then I had to interview a transsexual, Asian transsexual.
But Chris had to leave. Me and Dan were saying she's really hot, but the more she talks, she's like that. She's the hot chick who's actually a dude. She started out.
We were saying she was really hot.
Dan said it. Dan said it.
Yeah, Dan. Yeah, I'm sure Dan said it.
Well, this is a situation where Dan has to overcompensate. He looks like a woman. He looks like a cute woman.
She was really hot.
She looks like a cute woman.
She was on the path train with me. And I'm like, is that her? And I'm like, this chick's really hot. And then
you would say hot too.
Yeah, and the more she talked, I'm like, now she's more of a dude. And it turned me off a little.
And there's
but she's way hot.
Over the years, that's what the meatpacking district, when it truly had edge in the city, pardon the pun, when it truly had edge in the city, that's what the meatpacking district was. Yeah. It was post-operative trannies who looked smoking hot. And there's a lot of guys, macho guys, I know, Italian guys from Jersey who fucked them and knew they were transsexual. And to this day, it's a very, very awkward thing to bring up, especially at a barbecue with their wife and kids. I know a lot of guys, I know comics will fuck trans. So it's not gay, in my opinion, to say, yeah, she looks like a pretty woman, because that's exactly what she looks like.
I have to be honest, that was also on Geno's text about how he wanted to.
Well,
no.
He wanted to have sex with the transsexual.
Oh.
That was the subject line. He wasn't in the text.
It was, I just, again, everybody's got to have a sense of humor. When she corrects me right away when I accidentally call Bruce Jenner a fucking he.
I thought that was great.
They all of them go, she, shut the fuck up.
She said stigmatism instead of stigma, and I let it go.
Well, again, she's very sweet, very smart, very together. But, to say, like, who wouldn't want to be a porn star? A lot of people.
But I thought that was a lot of people
because it's fucking grotesque. How about that? To tell your mom you're a porn star. They try to seem so cosmopolitan and cool. And I love Lainey, and I wish this woman Venus nothing but the best. She's a together person, but I just don't like young people now. I'm trying to use this to get into this issue with the colleges. They want to be coddled. If you say something that they are fucking programmed to think is offensive, they immediately correct you in a very dismissive, condescending teacher-student way. This is a 25-year-old woman. I've been around her a lot. I have a lot of life experience. I know what I'm talking about. I'm 48. I call Bruce Jenner a he because it's a he. It's got a dick and balls. It's a better fuck. It makes more sense than she. He's still got his dick and balls. What you call a he for? So when I say he, I'm not being insulting. I'm just, that's what I've done my whole life, is call Bruce Jenner the guy who won the decathlon in 1976. A dude. Sorry. Geno, your thoughts? Now, do you know what's going on?
I thought it was a very well-conducted interview.
Do you know what's going on the college campuses? Do you know what I'm talking about? Have you done any research?
On the college, I know the Missouri people did a protest.
Do you know what that's about? You know the details?
Yeah, because they felt the president was allowing racist things to go on.
They weren't.
And by the way, the football team sucks anyway, so it's like it's easy to say we're going to boycott a game, and everyone's like, "Thank God, this is harder to watch than a race riot."
Bill Maher brings up a good point on his show.
No, he doesn't.
If they have that, he did on this one show. Look, I've said this about Bill Maher before. I'm a fan of his. I do enjoy his stuff. He's clearly a smart, funny guy, but he's also clearly an asshole. And one is not mutually exclusive from the other. But he said if they got that much power to get the president of the fucking university fired, why not strike and get themselves paid? Yeah. They should get, they do get paid. Why not? But the gist of it is, okay, there was two incidents that were pointed to. Well, supposedly the N-word was yelled out at black people. And look, if I'm a black person, especially now, I would not want to deal with that bullshit. I mean, really? Are you still doing that? Are you that much of a dope? You're yelling in anger the N-word at me? Like, if I was a black person, I'd be really fucking pissed at that. All we've been through at a university, like, I got to deal with this asshole. It would make me mad, but also I wouldn't run to the president and ask for coddling. I would fight through it myself, because that's what life is. And that's what you got to learn at college. Also, someone, painted a swastika somewhere. Terrible, awful, even in jest. That's one where you go, no, that symbol is just evil, mean, blah, blah, blah. So I get it. But those were the two incidents that were pointed to. Supposedly he didn't react quickly enough. Had other things on his mind as the president of a major university, but you could say he should have reacted. And it boiled over, and all the students protested and got him thrown out, got him fired. They got this guy fired. It's a lot of power to get this guy fired over 2 incidents. And my thing is now they want a safe place. I want you to guarantee me a safe place to study. And what you have to say is I would love to do nothing more. I would like to make the earth that safe place, but I can't. And if I give that to you here, you're going to expect it in the real fucking world, and it ain't happening.
Yeah.
So the best thing I can do for you as an educator is let you deal with certain things, and react to them a certain way without my coddling, without my help, and you're prepared for life better. That's my position on it. And this spread to Yale with people talking about politically incorrect Halloween costumes.
Are you kidding me?
A bunch of white guys put sombreros on and mustaches going to, what is a mariachi band? People got offended at that. It's a mariachi band.
You can't be serious.
Serious, yeah, sure. And major shit at Yale, of all places. Some guy wrote an email. A woman wrote an email and said, hey, what about freedom of expression? It's Halloween. What about letting these people have offensive costumes? It's kind of fun, and see how people react to it. It gets dialogue going. Well, her husband who worked on campus got attacked by liberal kids. Say they're liberal and go, how dare you? How dare you side with these racist costumes? And they both might have to leave the university now because these kids are not allowing freedom of speech. That's exactly what that's called. Saying the N-word, you can't get thrown in jail for saying the N-word. It's freedom of speech. It's despicable.
They have enough N-words in there anyway, right?
Okay, well, exactly.
No?
It's despicable. It's despicable. I get it, but you can't arrest somebody for it, and I can't guarantee you a safe place. So, Dan, you're more informed on this. What are your thoughts on what I just said?
I thought I completely agree with you. I thought that the world owes you nothing, kids. I'm telling you right now. And if you think that it does, you are so wrong. And I agree. College campuses is where you should be able to explore other people's thoughts, explore
homosexuality.
I thought that he was going there with this.
Whatever.
This is what I said.
No, I know, but you're right. The world, and more specifically, these kids are like, I'm not specifically. This college owes me something. School the world. Like I pay you a tuition, so you owe me a safe place. What?
But you said it and I said this goes back to that high school thing. Remember a couple months ago when the 2 high school football players brutally attacked a referee on a play?
Yes.
And then
awful.
And then they're like, well, the coach told us to do it because he heard the guy say the N-word. And it's exactly what I said in my podcast. It's not illegal to be a racist asshole. I'm sorry to say that.
Right.
But if a guy is in
just
charge,
said it here because people heard it.
Yeah.
But if a guy in charge of children who look up to them tells them to attack a person, well, then that guy's a dick. And
that guy
is illegal. That's
you're
illegal.
right. They look up to that guy. That's a good point. Think about it. That guy's their influence. They look up to him. He's a coach. Go fucking hit that ref. The guy could have been paralyzed. Look at he just blindsided him in the back. Now maybe the ref was a racist asshole, but you can't react like that.
No,
you can't do it.
No, and if someone and I joke around with race jokes a lot, but I really do.
I mean, a lot of us
and
do.
We get away with it because
a lot of the new
people.
comics don't, but
they don't have the edge. But if someone actually says that, throws it at hatefully, you filthy, and says it, you kind of shut down. You're like, you're not even a person worth talking to. You're so backwoods, stupid. It's like you're not even on my radar anymore, and I just shut down on that.
Yeah, they don't. Again, if you censor your material to cater to dumb people, you're like, okay, is this why I'm doing this, to cater to dumb people? Then do I change it to get a sitcom deal or an endorsement deal? Like, am I trying to be an artist? Some people don't care about being whatever artist, true to comedy. They want a deal. Be honest about it.
And I'll take it a step further to modern day pro football. Did you see
Des Bryant? I was just going to say, did anyone?
What did he say? What happened with him?
Okay, so Friday.
Just by the way, the guy who had a fight with his mother.
He exploded in the locker room.
Yeah, he's mentally ill, Des Bryant. But
and he exploded at one certain reporter, and he said that the reporter called him a racial epithet.
But he did that after. First he had First he had the tirade, and then and they're like, "What's wrong with this?" Guy's like, "Well, here's what he made the excuse." He's like, He's
this is
screaming
why.
at the ref because obviously he's tired of losing and he has no heart. You saw the end of the Tampa Bay game, and then he's like, when a guy says,
he's trying to save his ass.
But a black reporter said it to Devin Street, another black guy, and it's a locker room. It's a safe place.
Wait, explain what you just said. So it was said, but it was another reporter and another guy? What was said?
Well, a lot of reporters say they didn't hear and other people did, but he said, I forget, he said somewhere, and then he called him my nigga.
Devin.
Yeah, Devin Street.
A reporter called him my nigga.
Yeah, but it was
a white reporter?
No, a black reporter.
Oh, okay.
And again, you're in a locker room where you're trying to get information, so you're palling around. But you know what Des Bryant did? He just went off the rails and said, well, this is why I did it, because he's
on a black reporter.
Yeah, because rather than take responsibility for the fact that he's a bipolar jackass who has no heart to go up for a football at the end of the game.
Right. What he's doing is what it sounds like what he's doing is the qualified. I don't want to get sued here, but it sounds like you're right. He got frustrated and he realized he did something stupid, and no one is going to challenge me if I say I got called the N-word. No one's going to challenge that because everyone's a pussy, and they won't challenge me because that's where I can go. I have that shield.
But
as a black man, I can say, I heard the N-word, racism.
Yep.
Okay, and everybody backs down.
And in doing so, you're making your fellow wide receiver look like an Uncle Tom he's like, because obviously they're just palling around.
It's a black reporter, my nigga, come on.
And honest to God, and I said this in my podcast, if you're in a locker room and there's 800 other reporters who are tuned into this, and some guy says it like in a racial way, you filthy N-word or you stupid N-word, you're going to be like, oh my God, and everything is going to stop and go silent. But that's not what happened.
Are you always going to say, I said this on my podcast?
I probably
You're
am.
always going to say that. That's all I heard.
On my podcast.
That last rant, that's all I heard. Then I said this on my podcast. No, we all are built-in pluggers. That's what we are. No, again, it makes you very frustrated as a white guy who doesn't have that ripcord to pull. Mm-hmm. You know, he called me white. What? Who cares?
You lucky son of a bitch.
Yeah, Bill Maher went off on a rant also about how it's still good to be white. White people shouldn't complain all the time. Well, you know what? Not in all situations. Certainly not in comedy. In comedy, it's much easier to make to get a special, to be funny if you're black. Absolutely. There's much more material that you can get away with. And some people are geniuses, and they use that to be geniuses, like Chris Rock. Chris Rock is an example of a guy who uses that freedom, that creative freedom he clearly has as a black comic, to say the N-word, to make observations racially that you can't if you're white. And that's a frustrating double standard, but it's true, and you live with that. Some guys use it to be hacks. Chris Rock's an example of a guy who uses that freedom to explore and go to crazy areas, even if they're awkward. He's an artist, I think, and he sometimes creates some of the funniest shit you ever heard with that freedom. So in that case, my old joke is always when the Titanic was out as a movie that successful, I would rather be a black comedian, because to get laughs, I just have to make black people on the Titanic. That's the only joke you have to write. Now, Brothers was on the Titanic. That's hippie different. Fuck the bitches and children. I'm getting on the lifeboat. That gets you enough laughs to make a living. Just insert black people into the situation. White people can't do that. Dan, what are you doing?
If you wanted to hear it, I was getting it.
Des Bryant.
Oh, yeah, let's hear it.
How about y'all fix this shit, Rich? How about you fix it, Rich? You talking to us, you talking to the wrong people. You talking to the wrong people. Well, I'll make sure I put it out there, since y'all not gonna say nothing. I'm gonna make sure y'all call Street a nigga. I'm gonna post
Des
that
Bryant
on
or Ben
Twitter.
Carson?
And then I'm gonna let them know why I do this. Why I do this. I'm gonna let it be known why I do it.
So people are just standing around awkwardly?
Yeah.
Did he buy his locker?
Yeah.
And they were interviewing
Witten.
Jason Witten, and Jason Witten's trying to do an interview, and he keeps on looking back and looking back.
Who's
and
a
looking,
white guy, Jason?
Yeah, and finally he goes, excuse me for a second.
Excuse me, there's a guy who beat up his mother here, so I'm a little scared. A guy who beat up his mother has clearly unangeled us, so I'm going to leave.
If you could just give me a minute. Just a minute. Need a minute.
Wow.
They're getting Romo back this week.
Yeah.
You're giant.
Look, what about so again, the Des Bryant thing, we're calling him out on the fact that, black reporter, he hears the N-word, he goes to it because he's trying to get an excuse and get coddled. is the right word by the white media, liberal fucking media, who will back down every time. Every time. And that's frustrating. You can be an asshole and be black, okay? Just like white people can be assholes. All colors can be assholes. Des Bryant, in my opinion, is an asshole. Before black, before white. He's the color asshole. I am racist against one color. Asshole. Color of asshole. And Des Bryant, I may not agree with anything he says, but I defend to the death his right to say it. All right. Let's get to the fucking Giant Patriot game. I guess we got to discuss that because
we were discussing. Does Coughlin know how to tell time?
Okay, you're right. I think there's a lot of things going on here. You're right. Coughlin is when Coughlin makes mistakes, they are glaring. Really, like an old guy who's lost.
They could be 7-3 right now.
Yeah, I mean, Coughlin is one of the best coaches as far as rings is concerned. He's got as many rings as Bill Parcells as a Giant head coach. He is getting older, and sometimes he makes very glaringly obvious bad decisions. And clock management is not one of his strong suits. And that, to me, is a sign of getting old more than anything. But whatever, it's hard to argue with a guy who's got 2 rings and had this much success, and they're doing well this year. That, to me, though, and look, I say I love Bob Kraft. I've worked for the guy. He treated me very nice. He's a good man, but I hate the Patriots like I used to hate the Cowboys, like I used to hate the Dodgers when I was a kid, any LA team. Like I hated the Lakers in the 80s. God, the hatred for the Pats. They're too perfect. Tom Brady is touched by God, and I hope inappropriately. Really. I mean, look, I had this with Jeter. I could see what anti-Yankee people think of Jeter with that. Jeter's clearly got that God thing where he just has a charmed life. Brady has that. But, again, I always point this out. I've done it in my stand-up. Eli Manning seems to be his retarded kryptonite. The mouth-breathing Eli Manning is his kryptonite. And yesterday, anticipating that, wanting to knock their block off, undefeated, blah, 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 at home, I think, and I said this on Geno's podcast, I think, in my opinion, as a Giant fan, that might have been the worst regular season loss I've ever witnessed. That was horrible. Horrible.
Yeah, you picked that ball off at the goal line with 6 minutes left.
Right. And I got to give Odell Beckham Jr. a lot of credit. He said in the locker room, in a very rare, humble moment with a lot of football players, I cost us the game. I thought, coming down with the ball was enough. I should know the rules better. I thought I caught that pass. And in my opinion, he did catch that pass.
No one knows. I mean, no one knows what a catch is.
Yeah, that's a catch.
3 years ago.
Would you say that? Forget about any context of any rule, any time. To me, you show people who don't know the game. Is that a catch? He caught the ball.
He caught the ball.
Right.
Des Bryant caught the ball. Calvin Johnson caught all those
exactly.
balls.
I agree. And the interception by Collins. It was Collins, the Giant.
Well, that I could see.
The interception came down, and he.
The ground caused the incompletion. That I'll give him.
Yeah, but still, the ground should not. The interception, Dan, that you were bitching about at the end of the Giant game. You know what happened?
Yes, the ball knocked the wind out of him.
Well,
and then he just gave up.
Don't you think that he fell on that weird thing where you fall on the tip of the ball?
But he never.
But
had
it was
possession.
He never had possession. Okay, all right.
That's an old school. Ground caused the incompletion. But the Des Bryant thing, that's a catch 3 years ago. Now suddenly it's not.
Or no, I'm talking about Odell Beckham.
That's what I meant. Odell Beckham. That's a catch 3 years ago.
It is.
Now suddenly it's not.
I agree with you.
But here's the thing. That aside, that's the game, and. It's not like you're making excuses. You even said it. It's like you have 1st and goal at the 5. You have a 2:10 left, whatever, just on the other side of the 2-minute warning. Run it 3 times. You might even get a touchdown. But if you don't, and it's not like they didn't need every fucking last second. They kicked a 50-some yarder with 1 second left. They didn't run it down to the 33 to get in the center hash and kick it with
matter of fact,
every last fucking second.
Brady looks awkward. He looks like he's not doing well, and he's doing well. He's throwing how many passes?
Well, he lost his guy. What's his name?
Okay, but how many fucking passes in that situation are we giving up over the middle? Over the middle, boom, boom, boom. And he quietly gets yardage. And that last guy broke a big tackle and got the extra 5 yards. And, nowadays these kickers make 53-yard field goals. It's not really a long shot.
See the Jags game?
No.
It's not an interesting game, Jags Ravens.
Why don't you talk about it on your podcast?
But it was the same thing. The kicker, it was the last play of the game, and the Jags are down 20-18 in Baltimore.
Right.
And Elvis Dumervil grabs Bortles at midfield, and he's down. The game's over, but he just corkscrews his face mask.
Wow.
Untimed down, 52-yarder. Jags win. Same thing.
Mark where that is. We'll cut that out.
But I was pointing out
as soon as he
kickers.
says, when you say cut out from when he says, did you see the Jags game till right now?
I'm going to send you both a text message about
I'm sorry.
this.
Send Elvis Duverville or whatever his name is.
That is a great fucking football name. Is that a black guy?
Yeah, of course.
That was a rhetorical one. Elvis Duberville. My name is Elvis Duberville.
No, you're not allowed to be funny.
I
because
play football.
You're not allowed to be hilarious because you were mad at me for bringing this up.
What's your name? Elvis Duberville. What do you do, Mr. Duberville? Football. What is your secondary major? Football. What is your computer programming? Elvis Duberville. You know what you never hear? Dr. Duberville. Elvis.
Now I'm mad at you. Good,
What's your name?
Out.
Elvis Duberville.
Wait, is his real middle name is the one that's on here? Elvis Kool Dumerville?
Elvis Cool Duberville.
That is ridiculous.
What else would my fucking middle name be,
That
bitch?
is ridiculous. The quarterback for the Oregon Ducks' middle name is Clutch with a K.
Cool. Well, what's your middle name, Elvis Duberville? Take a fucking guess. Cool. On the money. Give that man a prize. What else would it fucking be? I major in white pussy. Elvis Duberville.
They're not going to play this on the Yale campus.
I'm telling you right now, we're creating a safe place. I could say Elvis Duberville in a stereotypical offensive black voice for the next 4 straight years. I wouldn't go to sleep in the shower. Elvis Duberville. And first of all, that could be Italian. It could be any accent.
I don't know that it could be.
No, a lot of white. I feel bad for a lot of white people. They don't know black people who speak like that. Most black people you see in the media, and well, Des Bryant does prove us wrong, but speak. Everybody speaks the same now. Everybody speaks proper, and that is a sign of progress. But I do miss Elvis Duberville. There he is. Is that Elvis?
Yep.
What's up, Elvis?
Oh, that's a beaut. That's a beaut.
Yeah, he's a strong black man.
He was a violent.
Football has some of them. Dante Culpepper, one of the greatest names ever. Dante Culpepper, and that's a white Southern guy. Dante Culpepper. Set your mind on this plantation, but set your mind to working. Dante Culpepper and Elvis Duberville. You spend a night in the box. Like the fat guy, Clifton James and Cool Hand Luke. You will receive a spoon. Don't lose your spoon. Anybody lose their spoon spends a night in the box. You will receive pajamas. Do not lose your pajamas. Anybody lose their pajamas spends a night in the box. You will receive sheets for your bunk. Do not lose the sheets to your bunk. You lose sheets to your bunk, spend a night in the box. You will receive a spoon and a fork. Anybody lose their spoon and fork spends a night in the box. You will not talk back to your superiors here or the armed guards. Anybody talks back to armed guards, superiors spends a night in the box. You will receive Sunday clothes to go to chapel. Anybody lose them Sunday clothes spends a night in the box. Anybody who's late for chapel, whether it's for religious reasons or any other reason, spends a night in the box. Anybody who accidentally insults me or mine spends a night in the box. Anybody who ain't up and dressed and showered by 7:30 a.m. spends a night in the box. And the box, of course, is the hellhole box they put Paul Newman in to try to break him. But they can't break him because his middle name is Cool. Elvis Duberville in Longest Yard. Spends a night in the box. The Longest Yard and Cool Hand Luke. It's all about the box. Check that out. Any young people out there.
Which one is that? The one with Sandler? Or the one with
Courtney Cox?
You guys are like fucking, Jesus Christ. All right. What do you want to talk about, Geno?
I don't know.
You try to be interesting, and I'll just sit there like an oil painting.
I was enjoying the Elvis Duperville.
All right. I'll just sit there, Dan, are you fucking alive or what?
Yeah, I was looking up better. I was looking up different names.
Whatever.
DeBrickashaw Ferguson.
Okay.
That's a good one.
So do you want me to hang me out to dry with that one?
Vernon Golston.
I'm going to say that for a while.
Should we talk about Charlie Sheen? Does that concern you? Did you ever party with Charlie Sheen?
Do you have an interesting take on it?
No.
Well, go ahead, talk about it then.
I'm curious if you ever hung out with him. You spent a lot of time in L.A.
You want me to tell a story about it?
Did you hang out with him?
Well, I mean, I don't want to tell you guys anything now.
What did we do?
You just sit there like assholes.
What? How did we sit here like assholes?
It's just such anger. No, you tell something interesting. You got the mic. Go ahead. Or Dan, you do something funny. Talk about what it's like to be married to a chocolatier. Just say something. Tell a story. I want to show you what it's like. Tell a story.
I can't do it as well as you.
Geno, you got anything?
I'm married to a chocolatier.
Yeah. Okay, tell a story. What else? Do you have any bits prepared?
I don't do
What
bits.
about Paris?
What do you think of Paris?
No,
here's my problem with Paris. And not my problem, God forbid. That's a terrible thing. And we were talking about before the show. I saw John Oliver's take on it. I find him very funny. But I think it's ridiculous that people are always like, oh, we have to get rid of guns. We have to get rid of guns. When Paris has no guns and they have that Abdu guy gets shot to hell a year ago. And now this stuff goes on. I'm saying that people that are so caught up with gun control and everything, they don't realize look, if someone really wants to just kill someone, sadly enough, it's the easiest thing in the world to do. That was my take. I'm not trying to win any votes here. I'm just telling you. Artie, are you awake?
Okay.
That
I
Abdu
was doing
guy.
a Geno impression. That's what Geno looks like.
Charlie Abdu.
Is it fun talking to somebody who looks like you?
Yeah.
Okay. You having a good time? I'm listening to this.
I'm always having a good time with you.
All right. Let's wrap the show up.
All right.
Dan, you have any plugs?
No, I have none. I have
any interesting stories?
I have other great names in football, though.
No, I don't want to hear about them.
Tell me one.
Why would I do it? You don't like when I do that, so I won't.
What are you talking about?
I'm not going to do it anymore.
Who didn't like your bit on?
I'm not going to do it anymore. I mean, why are you going to set me up and hang me out to dry?
How did he hang you out to dry?
Anyway, what about Mexicans, Geno? And Donald Trump. What do you know about in the news? Do you follow it?
I have not been following much other than Paris news. I don't pretend to follow the news.
What about Trump and what about the Republican debates? You know anything about that?
No, I usually just.
You really don't know anything about Trump?
When it comes to politics, and this is me, and feel free to make fun of me because it is lazy, but I don't. Politics just overwhelms me and annoys me because of all the political correctness.
But the stuff's so in your face now.
Yeah, but you know what I listen to a lot, as dumb as it sounds? Whatever my brother thinks, and I know this sounds dumb, I usually go with, he's really big on Ben Carson right now.
Right.
So I've been really, trying to follow his stuff, but I usually...
What do you know about Ben Carson?
I just know...
Give me the black doctor, neurosurgeon, Republican.
Yeah. Didn't he... Again, I'm going to go as best I can. I know he stood up against, he's you shouldn't have an Islamist guy as president because, they bring religious views into it.
He said a lot of very radical, what people would call honest in this country.
And look, he did something else where he was at one of the president's breakfast or something, and he just said all this crazy stuff. I know that's very vague, but that was...
It is like talking to a fourth grader.
It really is. Do I ever come in here and be like, what's going on with this house?
Why do you do that on purpose as a comedian? You don't think you should be up on that a little bit?
That's not where my comedy's going. That's not
Where's
the stuff.
it going?
What's that? Obviously nowhere.
Where does it go?
I'm at LOL this week.
No, I'm saying,
right now, football season.
Right. So it's mostly sports stuff.
Well, dude, I have to do these. I have to write a script and a pick once or twice a day now for those nice people at Sports Book Review that are hiring me. So what is
the status on that? You're doing so every Friday. You are giving us your picks, and it's good. How'd you do this week,
dude? Did not have. I went 1-2 on Sunday this week, but my NCAA picks, I was 7-3 because I lost my last two. And
Ohio State, I noticed had a nice cover, right? They covered.
Yeah, but I wasn't on them. I was on Texas Tech. I was on the over in that.
Texas Tech lost.
And I've been, No, they won and they hit the over.
Did they cover?
Yeah, they covered.
Okay.
But I lost because I like giving like better something late to do, like because Hawaii was playing at 11 o'clock.
But
I was going to say,
do you really know a lot about the Hawaii team to where you could make an educated bet?
No, but this is what I'm saying with the videos. It's always been me just reading up on the game, which I like doing, and then just like writing like, what I like best in whichever way.
So you pick a game, and you'll research the game, handicap the game, and then you will make a bet based on that.
Here's simply how I do it. I go, whatever the game is, like tomorrow night, the game will be Toledo versus Bowling Green.
Right.
Because it's Maction. And then I'll go to like a website that has a preview of it. I'll read the preview, I'll rewrite it in my own words, and sometimes a joke will come out, and whatever the joke makes fun of.
So you plagiarize.
Well, no, I'm repackaging.
You're repackaging something
into my words, and then no, I'm not Why
don't you do that with the Great Gatsby?
I'm not a sports reporter.
So what do you do? So in other words,
but whatever.
What do you put in your own words?
Well, I just like what's ever in my head. I just rewrite.
You
whatever.
Punch it up with jokes.
Yeah, with one joke, and whichever
one joke.
Well, sometimes there's more than one, but whichever team the joke makes fun of, that's the team I'll pick against.
Okay. So you go with wherever the comedy goes.
And that's how I pick against the spread. And
what is the joke? What was the joke this week?
Dude, the Texas Tech one was, I said, and it was a cute one-liner where I said their defense is terrible. I said it's as soft as brie cheese and smells just as bad.
Right.
And I said the only way they'll make it easier for the young men on Kansas State to score on them is if they add 3 more people, the Kardashian sisters.
Right. Well, that is
so
cute.
That's the joke.
That's cute.
Which is cute, but it gets the point across that,
But see, if you were up on the college campus stuff, what about that? That's a perfect opportunity.
Without a doubt. But
football, Missouri, walking out, a safe place.
Well, I
see with current events would help open you up to
without a doubt. When I picked against Dallas this week and took Tampa Bay, that was one of my bonus pick winners. I said when you don't have faith in your pieces, and I said Brandon Weeden should still be starting there. I know he was winless, but he knows the system. Not knowing the system cost him the game in the Eagles when he threw that pick. I said if you Google complete system failure, the only thing that comes up before Dallas and Matt Castle is Tommy Hansen, the Atlanta pitcher who OD'd and died of total. But that's
See, I didn't even get that reference. Well, who the Atlanta Braves pitcher?
Oh, he was, and then he.
How long ago was that?
This week he OD'd on coke and he went into a complete coma overnight.
When did that happen? I didn't even see that story.
Because you're so busy with politics.
Like 2 weeks ago.
It was last week. It was last week.
A starting Braves pitcher.
No. He had a great 3 seasons with the Braves. Right. Then he went to the Angels. Then he was kicking around the minor leagues.
Oh, okay. So he was. Okay.
But he was still trying to come back. He was only 5 years in.
Currently in the major league.
It was his first year in the minors trying to come back.
So he wasn't a current major leaguer?
No. But it was a big story in MLB.
So he OD'd on, they definitely know it was coke.
The story was, it's one of those tragic things where 1 minute you're reading the paper and the next minute ESPN is reporting Tommy Hansen's in the hospital with a coma, and then you keep checking 3 hours later. He had complete system failure. And then they're like, the next day, the only story you get is he was hanging out with the guy who was known to do coke. Like that, that's where you just know the family's protecting some sad story. Knock wood.
Where was how old was he?
Young. He's like 26.
So he's in a coma now.
He's dead. He died within hours.
He's 29.
What's that?
29. He's
there
29.
You go.
Oh, my God.
I'm thinking pictures.
Think about the fucking turnaround in life. Having it all to dead. Oh, shit. Devastation. Yeah, that's brutal. Well, it's like, I thought he was a major league. I said, how did a major league pitcher happen? But I said he went back down to the
But he was almost rookie of the year 1 year, I think.
Did he ever have any issues? Like, that is just out of nowhere?
It's just some guy struggling with a comeback, and he probably fell into the wrong space.
Yeah, well, again, people need that safe space. Sometimes cocaine provides it.
I'll say.
I don't know. It's very...
But that was my
very
point.
Sad,
that I spend a lot of time writing that material, and I'm not writing stuff about politics.
A joke, and all of a sudden it's the most depressing.
Well, you wanted a current event joke.
You made a joke about that?
Yeah.
What did you say? What was it? What was the joke?
I said if you Google complete system failure, the Cowboys come up just after Tommy Hansen.
Oh, God.
But see, I have no problem joking about a guy that does that. Like, I'm not going to make jokes about the poor people in Paris. These are people.
What about what's the difference between this guy? This guy has a family.
Guy made a choice. Well,
these people chose. What choice did he make?
He did cocaine.
So you judge him for that?
I'm not judging him. I'm just saying.
What about if you?
You're asking me my criteria for what's too soon.
Would you want sympathy if you one night your blood alcohol level is whatever? And I mean, don't you make a choice? So you better? Are you better than him?
No. You ask any of my friends. Because I always say if ever.
Sounds like you are. It sounds like you think you're better.
Well, I'm alive.
I feel bad for that. I feel bad for the guy.
I feel bad for him too, but I've always said this. I'm like, if I ever wrap my car around a pole or something, don't make excuses for me. Don't be like, although I don't drive drunk. But if I ever, wake up in a pool of vomit and got robbed, I do.
Drive drunk. Because you don't have a car.
Well, I have a Chevy Sonic.
I'm sorry. Driving that sober should be illegal.
See, that's hurtful. That's more hurtful because I'm alive. I'm not in a coma.
You sound so judgmental. You sound so like judgmental. He made a choice.
He did make a choice.
Prick.
I am an old prick. I'm your age.
He didn't fucking choose to die.
Yeah, but you have to take responsibility for your actions, don't you think?
No, not all the time. Yeah, I think if you get a little blow, you should expect not to die, maybe.
Artie, not to get deep, but when you tried to offer, would you have wanted sympathy from everyone saying like, "Oh my God, you've always taken responsibility for what you've done."
But I want some sympathy from people.
We give you sympathy.
I'm not hearing it.
Artie.
No, I wouldn't feel like certainly obviously I'm making a lot of bad life choices, but you want sympathy.
Why did you look at me when you said that?
If you wrapped your car around a pole, I would feel bad for you. Yeah.
My car's not big enough to wrap around a pole.
I'm saying if you died, I would feel bad.
Yes.
Even if it was a bad decision. You're one of these fucking assholes. Like you're judging this kid for fucking dying.
I'm not judging the kid. I made a joke about it, and you said it was too soon, and I said the guy made a choice.
It was too soon. I thought I was.
You said I'm doing a joke about it already.
It just wasn't a funny joke.
A minute ago it was very funny.
To who?
I don't know. I was hoping.
I never said it was funny. Yeah, I mean, I think you want some sympathy, sure.
I'm very sympathetic. I'm very emphatic when it comes to the people.
So you had no sympathy for me when I was in the hospital?
I read your book and wrote you. I love you, buddy. Anything you need. I have nothing but not sympathy.
So what are your feelings?
I don't get what's the question.
You said you really expected people to have sympathy for me.
No, I said you probably didn't expect people to have sympathy for you because you took responsibility for your actions.
Completely thought people would have sympathy for me.
Your current electricity bill, informing you that you are now qualified under a recent bill passed in Congress called the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act, permanently reducing your electric bills up to 60% through the U.S. Renewable Energy Program. The U.S. Renewable Energy Program will stop the 14% rate increase on your electricity bill coming soon. Press 1 now if you are a homeowner and are paying more than $150 per month for electricity. Press 1 now to stop the electricity bill increase.
Geno, could you press 1?
If you are a homeowner and
yeah, that's
Is it sad that the funniest part of the podcast was a recording
in the podcast from my kitchen? Now, Dan, did we have a discussion about that or no? How do we leave it? That I wanted to it off the hook or on the hook?
Turn off the ringer.
Oh,
I didn't know that the machine came on.
Well,
so that's why you didn't hit a ringer.
Well, you just turned off the ringers, but it answers the phone.
I thought it killed the phone. So that's my fault. I thought it kills. If you turn it off, I thought
something's your fault.
I thought if you turn off the ringer, you turn off.
Says that's my fault.
Next time I'm not on the podcast, I'm going to call, and it's going to be like the good.
I actually checked it today, and this morning I was like, I wonder if you hit menu, does the machine does it turn down the volume? There's no volume for the machine.
Next time I'm not in and Ryan Reese is, I'm going to do the Goodfellas thing. Ryan Reese is a hooah. Get your own goddamn podcast.
Are you really bitter about that?
I'm not bitter about that at all.
Well,
but
the text seemed that way. So did we misread the text?
No, I can be passive aggressive. But I love Ryan Reese.
That was very direct.
Yeah. Yeah, there was no...
1 minute.
It said, why the fuck am I getting bumped for Ryan Reese?
Yes, I didn't say why the fuck.
Maybe Artie.
I was even more
maybe Artie
smarmy.
could tell me. So you did say maybe Artie could tell me why he told me. So in other words, you knew I was there, but you were choosing to talk about me as if I wasn't there.
Yes.
Is that how okay.
You did not know.
No, I'm saying yes. I'm nodding and laughing. That's exactly what I was doing. And then
you were choosing to make believe that you didn't know I was there.
No, I was doing it because I wanted Dan to answer, but I didn't want him to, because I'm like, I'm not going to let them play off each other. I want an answer. And then instead of Dan, you're like, and you write back, how do you think that conversation is going to go, Geno? And then we actually had a fun conversation.
And then it was a cheery, like, hey, buddy. Really? I guess it's your show, whatever.
But yeah, and I've always said it's your show, but 1 week you're like, I want you on every day, and I get excited. I'm like, okay.
Who do you have to tell that it's my show?
No, but you were I've always said that. But
it's not that it's a big deal. I bought a couple of microphones.
but God forbid you ever think that I'm like not appreciative, and I'm like, oh well, I'll tell you what's best for your show. But when you say,
so God forbid it happened.
But when you say I think it's best when you're on like a lot.
So
then I'm all proud of like my achievement.
I want the audience to understand what you're claiming.
Okay,
you're claiming that we were having a group text, and then there was a pause in the group text, and then you then texted to Dan, knowing full well I was going to hear it. A text as if I wasn't there.
No,
and you did that on purpose.
No, I'm saying
because you said
I started the group
to Dan.
Right, I started the group text with both of us on purpose.
Maybe Artie can tell me.
Maybe again, you can tell me.
No, maybe Artie said Artie.
Okay,
the text said Artie. Maybe Artie can tell me why he told me I'd be on every day, and then I'm bumped for Ryan Reese all the time.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
So that's just me being proud of my achievement, and then me suddenly like a week later, I'm like, now I'm getting bumped for this guy.
But you understand why you thought I wasn't there.
Oh, sure, but you do understand that like you can't accidentally include someone in a text message. You have to like go out of the way unless you're responding. But I'd started the thread with you too.
So you wanted
because that was the thread when I said I'm sending the podcast.
What was the goal in doing that?
To find out why I was getting bumped for Ryan Reese.
What did you want me to think?
What's that?
What did you want me to think?
I wanted Dan to respond, but I didn't want him to be able to say like, well, Artie said this if it was Dan.
So in other words, so it was never an option in your head knowing I was there to go, hey, Art, can you tell me? Like direct the question at me.
Well, considering 3 days earlier, you're like...
Because I'm the one who clearly made the decision. What do you think is a
I don't know that you clearly made the decision because 3 days before you said, look, I want you to come in every day again. We got to get back into that rhythm.
Well, who would make that decision?
Well, then why didn't you tell me?
I'm saying, why didn't you ask directly? Why didn't you say, Artie, can you tell me instead of saying
because
Dan?
I assumed Dan was suddenly saying, now we don't need you. And I wanted to get an answer from Dan, but I wanted to make sure that he couldn't go around you.
But you wanted me to hear that conversation.
I wanted to make sure I wanted to, and if he had texted me back.
Okay, so that's what Geno said. I want the audience to know.
And then if Dan
I'm claiming that Geno, had a lapse of whatever. He for 1 second thought maybe he was texting just Dan and not me. That's why he texted Dan as if I wasn't seeing the text.
I have done that in the past. Texted somebody that was on a group. Then I realized it was a group text.
Yeah, but that's a dick pic, Dan. That's a dick pic.
Geno was claiming he knew I was seeing it, and
look,
he chose
there's no way if you read that text, you would think that you knew. I have it on my phone.
There you go.
That you knew that you were texting Artie also.
You ready for this? I do know because I was with my brother on a golf course at the time.
But not understanding why I would think that happened is odd. Like, well, you understand that you did it so well, and I did think you didn't know I was there.
I didn't mean it like that.
If you knew it was a group text, I would think that you would text something like, "Why are you being such an asshole? Let me on the podcast." As a joke.
No, you're projecting anger onto him. I'm sort of like, what? No, I think if he knew, he would say, "Hey guys, I mean, we're friends here. I think I've been on the podcast. Obviously, I'm friends with Artie. What's the deal?" That's how I thought you. To me, a normal friend, a person would do that. Instead, you chose to be violently mad at Dan, knowing that I was hearing it.
I was not violently mad.
It seemed
I was
aggressive.
Stunned. There was no. You noticed that there was no reply from me because I was stunned at the text.
Well, because you saw I replied.
Yeah. Right. Well, no, but there was a long time where you didn't reply, like 10 or 15 minutes.
Really? No, I think I was pretty quick.
Oh,
I think I was. Maybe you're right. I don't know. Well, okay, but again, I don't know. It's very hard. It is hard to. I'll answer your question. It's hard to navigate. Different people who want to come on, and sometimes it gets crowded. And I did also say to Ryan that he could come on every once in a while, and I didn't. I thought sometimes it would get crowded. That's why. I mean, it wasn't anything bad at all. And I understand I could have been misleading. I apologize. That's the only reason. I mean, you shouldn't have to look any further into it.
Well, that was why I did it, because it was like literally 2 days after you said I want, and I'm like, what's going on with this? And we're comics, we're very insecure, and I'm like, what the fuck? I think I'm doing great. So I do that, but it's like it was kind of funny when I did it, and I kind of like what it's led to with this. But that's the thing I've always said. It's like there's people in this, and you know me, you know this as well as anyone. You've seen me just be like, I don't care, and I just walk away from shit,
Right.
But like if I like people I'm working with, I'm going to have fights with them. I'm going to have these discussions with people because it's like it bothers me. I'm like, I have to deal with this for a long time moving forward, and I need to,
Well, no, yeah, I think if you like a person,
Like, remember the New York Post? How like all summer it was like about to get hired by them, and then they're like, "Oh, we don't want to pay you." Did we ever mention them again?
Well, no, I'm saying, well, I don't think you'd be friends with the New York Post.
No, but you know, what I mean, it's like you walk away from them.
My point is that if you're invested in someone as a person, you like them, you will react in a certain way. Whereas if you don't care, you just don't care. It's indifference to me is the biggest sign of
hatred.
I just don't even acknowledge.
Yeah.
That's because the other side show passion, and of course that's what this is. It's a friendship. I don't mean it in any other way except I promise somebody else something, and what I have learned from doing this, when there's a bunch of people in the room and comics are trying to get their words in, it can be overbearing. I try not to have that. It's nobody's fault. It's my fault for booking it like that. In any event. All right, I got to get ready for this blind. I'm doing a blind
date
charity. I don't even know what I wish it was, man. There's a charity. I've done it a couple of years over the last 5 years at Gotham. It's a charity for blind people. It's Greg Carton from Boomer and Carton hosts it. Robert Klein, Todd Barry, I think Attell is there. A bunch of people. It's a good cause.
Are they seeing any results?
Nice. There you go. I like that. Why don't you come? You want to do the spot before me? Can I have that joke? What are your plugs?
I talked about it on my podcast. Follow me at Twitter because that's when I put up all the videos.
What is the Twitter?
Geno Bisconti.
G-E, by the way, I know.
Yeah, and there's only one Geno Bisconti. It's not like there's any comedian. So if you even spell close, and my website Geno Bisconti always has the videos. But I appreciate that, buddy.
Geno Bisconti, the videos, and you look for his videos Fridays here. And
it's an Artie Quitter.
I'm ArtieQuitter.com. That's where you just direct everybody buddy. ArtieQuitter.com.
How do you think that conversation will go?
And I'll tell you what, I'm glad we cleared up this text. Clearly, Geno knew I was seeing it and was trying to
I want to do it
pull
again
off a ruse. A very elaborate ruse.
I only get angry at the people I really like, and I get very angry.
I do enjoy your company.